Hi everyone, can you hear me? All right. Okay, great. So excited to see so many friendly faces in the room and be joined with some amazing women here today to talk a little bit about how old we're getting. But when we came together to think about like how could we present a session today, we realized we had so much knowledge and depth of experience among the four of us, and it kind of quickly became clear that we continue to get more veteran with our experiences and learn every detail of what we're doing. But as we continue to grow in our jobs, the students continue to remain the same age. And they are becoming more advanced in different ways, maybe underdeveloping in other ways, but they continue to change in a way while we're also continuing to grow in our own careers. And how do you have these two populations come together and understand each other? So we realized with all of our immense knowledge, we had something to think about and talk about with you all. So with that, I want to just let us all introduce ourselves because they're going to do a much better job of discussing their highlights. So I'm going to kick it off. My name is Molly Witt. I work at the University of Vermont. I've been there for 11 years. I've been in admissions for, this will be my 17th cycle, in higher ed for about 20 years, always related to international, starting off in study abroad and then transitioning very quickly when I realized this was a much better fit for me. And just loving the job that I do, but being able to talk with you all on a regular basis makes it really worth it. So I'm going to turn it over to our ladies to introduce themselves. I wish we had a mic.
Hi everyone, I am Dr. Kshitija Singh. I'm currently working at Welham Girls School, Dehradun. Welham Girls School is a residential school for girls and it's about 67-year-old school, so quite an old legacy that we work with. And when it comes to working with Gen Z, of course, as Molly said, that we are, aging, but the students remain at the same age. So yes, that is of course the challenge, but with the time I think we all are kind of upskilling ourselves and trying to bring it at par with our students. It's been really pleasure to work in this capacity for last 10 years. Before that, like, I've been always into education. As the name suggests, I'm the doctorate in economics. I was into university teaching earlier, but I think I'm enjoying the most being as a guiding force to my students. And I hope today we bring some kind of sense to all of you that how as we are growing, but the students we need to come down to their level and we need to talk at their level to make them more understanding about their futures. So over to you, Manju.
Hello, good afternoon, namaste. Lovely to have all of you here. So nice that post-lunch we can see so many people out here. So I hope all of you are in absolute awakened mindset, right? The bodies are also like, okay, we are here. How many of you are here physically? Okay, how many of you are here mentally? How many of you are here emotionally? Okay, how many of you are with everything here? Cool, that's great. Thank you. So, as you can see, my name, Manju Sharma. I'm a little naughty, right? I want to be, and I am, right? I'm an old aged. You can see that 30 years with education industry. It's more than that now. But, again, as Molly has described the session, so I am, and I think working 30 years with the schools, the students made me like this, right? I have a son who is 27-year-old. I have a daughter 25 years old. They both are in different countries. I live alone. I say this is my life. I'm absolutely at freedom and I'm all with the students only and they make me feel teenager. So don't go on my gray hair, don't go on my fat body, okay? Don't go on my experience also, right? Don't go on my age. I'm a teenager, full on teenager. Okay, so as you can see, I'm heading the guidance counseling department at Harrow International School. It's a new school in India which launched last year. So last year we offered only IGCSE and A levels. This year we have got the affiliation for IB diploma program also. So grade 11 has IBDP as well as AS level, which is the grade 11 of A levels. And in grade 12 we have only A level students. So grade 12 students 24 and grade 11 students we cross 65, and in all in the school we have crossed 215 students when I left the school 3 days ago, and now I know it must have gone up, right? And the fee structure is also very up. It's elite school, like pay too much, okay? But at the same time I would say when they are paying that much to a school, they can pay to the universities as well. Am I right? Right. And with those naughty kids, when I have to keep my pace, I think I'm the right fit. That's why the school recruited me. So let be your child alive. Let us be kids so that we work better with the kids, isn't it? Great. With this experience, are you all here? Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Swati, please.
Добър ден, много ми е приятно да съм тук с вас днес. My name is Sveti Karavanova. I'm the Director of International Recruitment at Xavier University in Cincinnati, Ohio. And you're not in your post-lunch nap. I did say something that wasn't in English. I am originally from Bulgaria. So I said hello. I'm very happy to be here with you today. I have been at Xavier for about 10 years. I've spent 20 years in the United States. I was a former international student, so I moved from Bulgaria to study, not at Xavier University, but in an area nearby. So I like to use that to my advantage sometimes when I talk to students or prospective parents and bring my personal experience as an international student. I spent most of my time at Xavier on the international student services side, and I've been on the dark side of recruitment for the past 2 years.
Thank you all. This is a really hard act to follow. So we thought we'd just start by naming, like, Gen Alpha is up and coming, right? Who are they actually? I have a Gen Alpha in my house. He is of a different generation, and it's so special, and he knows it. But we have not yet formally, at least on, thinking about recruitment purposes, we're not yet recruiting this group. This is a group that is not yet on our radars. But you might see them walking around the fairs wishing they could talk to us and taking our pens, taking our stickers, our brochures. Keep your hands off of them. Some of the things that they're really excelling at and the things that they've grown up with, it's not unlike our Gen Zs that we're working with right now. They're very mobile, capable. They really don't understand a world without a cell phone that connects you to everything. They really have a global mindset because they are so interconnected. They have access to so much information from around the world. They're very visual learners. You can imagine having a screen in front of your face every day kind of does that to you. Reading the words is hard, but watching the pictures is fun. They're very digital, and as a result, they're very social, but in a different way. Almost entirely through technology, right? And I see that play out with my son, where he is the shyest kid ever until you get something in front of him and he's like, and I'm like, could you use the words in real life to my face? But I love him. He's the best, in case that doesn't come across. So as named, kind of, they've really lived in this world their whole life, having had technology from day one. And I know as a parent, it's so easy to try and put something in front of their face to just like have a minute to breathe. So it's pretty easy for them to have access to that as a result. They're not used to watching long form videos. These short, in the US at least, and I know it's not as a thing here, but TikTok is such a force to be watching these short videos in a short time frame, to just be nonstop scrolling is just, their attention span is out the window, it's gone. And then as a result of that, you can imagine a lot of students are turning more to virtual learning, streaming information, finding alternative sources besides sitting in a class where they know they have to be. But there's a lot more technology used in courses as a result of meeting students where they are. Just some additional attributes that I pulled from a website that I would love to source, but I don't remember. You can see a lot of that kind of mirrors what we've already talked a little bit about. Oh, but I did find this one interesting, the third point. Watch out, there's something right there. More likely to stay in education longer. As I was reading more about this, it's that idea that, these are my words, not the website, I can't source. It's kind of this idea of, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I can educate myself. So if I keep going through education, I don't have to like jump into the real world, an adult. So they're more likely to go for longer periods of education, to advance themselves more. And maybe I like to hope, as I'm witnessing some of these students growing up, maybe that'll lead to a more confident individual, that as they're exiting the education world, maybe they'll feel a little more confident walking into the adult world and walking into job opportunities. That's my hope. But we've got quite a ways to go before that happens. And then maybe the last couple of points, a little more likely to stay home as a result, especially having lived through the pandemic at such a young age. I know, I'm the tall one. Sorry, guys. Sorry. You're going to have to pull it back down. It's a hot one. So maybe they're more willing to stay at home a little bit longer. They've isolated at home for some of the most important years of their life. It's hard to understand, you know, how you grow out of that and into something else. And as a result of that, they might not have as many of the skills that they used to be able to integrate more easily into these open settings like this, right? To be able to just network and speak openly. Obviously, that's maybe more of an American perspective I'm bringing to the table, but curious to see how that plays out. Ooh, sorry, y'all. All right, but let's not talk about them without talking about us. So some things that we're really well known for, we tend to be a little, and this is really looking at kind of above the millennial fray, but not exclusive. We tend to be a little bit more independent. We were sort of taught to figure things out on our own, to go read the sources, but forget the sources. We tend to be a little bit more adaptable. Ability to be flexible in the spot is something we're comfortable with. We're quite balanced. We're quite practical as well. We want to move through things in a kind of logical order and make sure everything gets done. We are tech savvy. Don't get us wrong. We might not be the generations that came before or after us who have lived through much more of technological advances and so much faster, but we aren't dependent on it. We know how to function outside of our phones, outside of our tablets, outside of our technology. The downside is some of these younger generations just see us as old, and maybe that's unrelatable. I don't know what they're talking about. Maybe a little cynical, and I can attest to myself, I am a negative Nancy sometimes. And we tend to be a generation that focuses on work and expects that we will have to work. So I just wanted to set the context for, like, now let's transition into the school setting. So I'm going to invite others to talk, not just myself.
This one is one. This one, take this one. So you take that. I think we are facing some tech issues. Yeah, that's what we need to be tech savvy. This is giving us that, with the development of technology, when we get a lot of facilities in our life, isn't it? That earlier we used to make presentations, it was so terrible to collect the data also, isn't it? A lot of things we need to manage, and now it becomes so easy. And then later, ChatGPT had come, and even the Microsoft Office also says that we teach you that how the presentation can be prepared so very well. And as Molly said about TikTok, in India we do not have TikTok, we have only Instagram, so we are limited to this sort of social media. But here I see my son actually, so when he comes, he is using a lot of time in the washroom. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm coming. And then my daughter says, Mama, it's all going either TikTok or it's Reddit. So we do not have Reddit like that very much in India, it's not that, but in the US these two are a lot, right? We use, here our students are on Quora, right? They are using, and I always say, do you really know that the information on Quora is not authentic? Anyone can give you any information. So they are actually with information overloaded, isn't it? But which information they need to assimilate, take, use, that's the challenge for them. Am I right, Kshitija?
Yes, of course. So it's been quite evident in the past also that the overload of information, the sources are unverified. We don't know that whether somebody who's answering on Quora or Reddit, or as a matter of fact, the reels on Instagram, how much verified they are. But yet, the generation we are dealing with is on that. And sometimes they, kind of come back to us and say that, this I saw there. And then we have to produce an evidence to them, no, this is not correct. This is what we are doing is correct. So, what the generation we are dealing with is, of course, very, very smart. I mean, they're way smarter than us. But at the same time, as educators, it's our duty to kind of, handhold them, take care of them, that whatever information they're absorbing is correct. And yes, they come up with good decisions. That's what probably our roles are. Right, Manju?
Absolutely right, Kshitija. Instagram account was created by my students. So I was working in boarding school those days, and we used to enjoy in the evenings also, where we used to talk about so many things, and I used to prepare the students for flash mobs, street plays, a lot of things we used to do there. And then one day, like, we were sitting and my phone was, of course, lying with me, and one of the child curiously, can I use your phone? I said, why? No, I will actually send from your Instagram request to myself to follow. I said, but I don't have an Instagram account. Oh, where's your total Instagram account? What are you doing? I said, why? You must have. I said, okay, but I never ever created. I don't know how to do that. Oh, ma'am, let me get. And then within that conversation, so many others have come up, and so interestingly, they created my Instagram account. They sent from that Instagram account to request to them, okay, to follow, which of course later on I unfollow. Because I have such rule that till the time they are my students, they cannot be connected with me on social media. Once they are the alumni, then of course, then they are more respected. So they can connect. And they only posted a few pictures also, and I learned, and I'm still learning. I'm more active on LinkedIn than Instagram, and they are less active on LinkedIn. as they are on Instagram. Having said that, there are so many challenges as educators, as counselors, as university reps. We all face and we all would like to do our best for these kids. We all have the same aim to give them the best for them. No matter, this world is fast changing. There was a time when there was no telephone, then telephone had come, it was a landline and people used to, talk and it's still like louder, and this is the, international call or the call from one city to the other. And now you see that I have to keep the mic here because it's so sensitive, it is taking. So the range of these calls have also a lot now. So technology is developing so fast paced. When Google had come, that time also people said that this would be challenging. But then later on we found that this engine is actually supporting us a lot. Then ChatGPT had come, then also had come what about academic honesty? What Turnitin will say about this? What essays they are writing, how authentic those essays are or not. Right? So authenticity was questioned, and is still the talk is there with ChatGPT that whether they are writing those essays are theirs or not. This is a challenge for university side. This is a challenge for counseling side as well. And that's where we are doing a lot together. We are learning about this. We all pacing that fast pace because challenge is one and the change is one which is always there, constant. It's constant. So having said that, from the high school counseling, we see the challenges when we have the university rep only in the other country. They are not in our own country, right? So how many of you are the representative of the universities who have come once in a year to India? Please. Okay, great. So when you have come once in India, is it possible for you to visit India 4 times in a year? No? Because the budget is not there. Right? You may have other countries also to travel to. So that's make it difficult. How many of you are the representatives from university side and you are based in India? Or your university has based in India? That's great. So, I think you give me the answer. Many universities are making this approach that they should have the representative in India. And why India? There are so many other countries, but India is the country where a lot of potential is there. One, of course, we are number 1 in population. Number 2, we are the youth country. Our biggest population is the teenage to 25 and 30 years. So that population we have, and we see a lot of potential over there for not only undergraduate studies but postgraduate studies, for doctorate studies, and even the postdoctorate also. And no doubt, no offense to other passport holders, but Indians are highly talented. Highly talented, and all the countries want them to be there in their country so that they can contribute in the growth. When I say growth, I don't say only economic growth. I don't say only revenue, because there are countries, there are students who get even the 100% scholarship also. But the other countries see the potential, and that's why they invite them on 100% scholarship, because they see the valuable contribution they are going to do. So I think Kshitija, I have spoken a lot. Please, if you can.
Yeah, so as
Should I?
Thank you, Manju. So as Manju has mentioned, the idea of this presentation, the 2 slides that both of us are doing on the high school counseling side, being the counselors, we clearly can see the difference when our students are remotely connected with you guys, or they are physically connected with you guys. The difference is very, very visible in person. Because of course, the students does not, the email time, or maybe earlier times when we'll call and then we'll get the call back, fax, or the communication needs to be little faster now. They really want the answers quite quickly if they're getting stuck, if they have some questions about the university, if they want some clarifications on certain issues, or if they want to understand about something about particularly about your universities. I have personally felt the students and the parents, of course, they feel much confident when you people are here in person in our country, and if at all we can manage to connect both of you, then they feel much better and confident. I mean, it's not that if you're not here, they will not look into your university or something, but I think the in-person connection gives them that confidence of you and your university. And most importantly, parents, because they are the major stakeholders who are going to invest financially, emotionally into their child, because sending a child abroad is a big decision. I understand that. So it's very important when I know that I have a person here with whom I can talk about my kid. And as a counselor also, we are not, I will not say that we face a lot of challenges, because we are directly connected with you. But for as parents, I think it's very important. And in terms of professional development as counselors, when we see, we kind of learn more with the people who are here in the country with us, rather than we meet once a year to you at these conference or maybe at my annual fair. So it's a very small time that we get to spend and to learn from each other. So that's the communication we need right now, in the time where the communication with the Gen Alpha is like scrolling, and a very less amount of time they would like to spend to gather the information. So that is what Manju and I are trying to bring in here.
Yeah, so I would like to add, thank you Kshitija. I would like to say, because they have the habit of, 30 seconds reel, right? And that's how the attention span has gone to 30 seconds. So even if they are sitting, reading something, first of all, they won't read. Until and unless, whenever in school I go, I always say, if you really want to inculcate reading habits, it's very important that you bring the reading awards. And then I say how this is important, how the unis will look at your, profile building, right? And that's how these things are inculcated, nurtured over there. But yeah, we all know that even our attention span is going on. We do not have that sort of attention span what we had, because this is what the world is. And we cannot deny that. We need to accept these things. So what Kshitija said, the difference is not that we do not get the professional development from the, representatives who are sitting in the other countries. It is about the access, easy access. We have access. I visit so many countries, so many universities, but that could happen with a great planning. Right? I cannot just a month before I can say to one university, oh, I would like to come to your campus visit and all this. And for that also I ask you to sponsor that, because my school is not paying me for that. Right? And I don't have that much of money, because I earn in INR and I have to pay in US dollar or in euros or in pounds. My pockets will be like empty of the entire year. Whatever I have earned, it will go. So it's about easy access, because the in-country representative of any university, in country I'm not speaking about any organization, please, okay, the representative in country, okay, that helps, because one, our time zone is same. The other thing, we feel, we Indians specifically, a lot on WhatsApp. That we feel is very easy. We can send messages, we can send pictures, we can send, voice notes. So that we find is really very easy, and phone is always in the hand. Whereas emails we find are a little more formal. So, for that formal, I'll take little time to write because I'm writing some formal, and professional communication is there. Whereas WhatsApp, I feel it's not a formal or professional communication, so I can easily reach out. So the time zone makes a big difference, the budget makes a big difference, and then of course because they are in the same country, they can reach out to schools, in all those 12 months these schools are open, different schools at different times. So those are the things, and then more than that, as Kshitija spoke about parents, because they are the biggest stakeholders in the decision making. Sometimes, there are parents who have good money, they want to send their child to study abroad, but they cannot communicate in English. So that time, the representative who is from our culture helps a lot, because that representative can speak other than English also, and they can connect culturally. And that connect culturally builds up the trust. And that trust factor works magically, because nothing happens without trust.
Can I share a small story here with what you just said? I remember I had a student who was very much interested to go to this one particular institution, but her parents were really worried because, of course, for girls, especially in India, right after grade 12, sending across the world is, of course, what parents really do not prefer a lot. People are changing now. So now this girl, what she did, she wrote to in our annual fair, she met this institution's representative, and she said the same thing to him, that I really want to do it. Then he said that why your parents are not, they just think they are not able to, I'm not able to convince them I'll be safe there, or it's good for me to go, but they're just saying that you're very small, do your graduation here, then go. Believe me, this was an Indian representative of that organization. He went all the way to that girl's house to meet the father. And the way they both spoke, the way he, shared about the institution, about the safety of their daughter, that girl this year successfully completed her graduation from that institution. So it's that connect that we are talking. It's not that if you're sitting, whatever it is, but that personal touch that you can probably give to parents. And we as a counselors are happy to connect you with the parents directly when it comes to this level of insecurity. And it's you who can convince them best that what is it that their children will be safe with you guys, how you're going to look after them, So that is what, that is the reason we are here, and we are trying to make a point that communication and your in-person presence in the country is very, very important when it comes to, sending our students to you guys, to your wonderful institutions.
Rightly said, when I was invited for many panel discussions on Mirror Now, when certain things were going on in one of the country, where the maximum students go, for their undergraduate and master's studies. And they asked me, but the parents have concerns about the safety of the child. I said, I visited thousands of universities, and I have seen the universities are really, really safe. They all have the emergency light, which is called blue light. They have their local police, which is called university police. Then they have connection, the other police also, the city police is there. And if the child just presses the button of that blue light, and immediately they track and they reach over there. And otherwise also you will find the cameras are there, the guards are moving around. It's actually very, very safe. And so I said that time, but somehow because this had just came when we were live on the television, And this time when I went in July, again to visit universities. Specifically, I went to one of the university where I found the blue light, absolutely where we had our lunch. So I went and I clicked the picture. I said, next time somebody will ask me and I will show this, that this sort of blue lights are there on campus. So students are absolutely safe. And yes, coming to Gen Z, I would suggest, like, you know, all the counselors, if you would like to take that to your school, have a lot of panel discussions. Because it happens a lot that, you know, we as a counselor, we feel that we are on a little upper ladder. And then what happens, we feel like, you know, deriving to speak more. We get less into listening mode. It's really good exercise to do a lot of panel discussions, you know, with parents, have panel discussions with alumni, have panel discussions with your current students, asking them about their expectations. What do they expect? How do they like their counselor to work? How do they like the universities to approach, and what information they actually want from their students, from the universities that they should provide? It gives really amazing insight, because every cohort is different. And they come up with different ideas, and those ideas actually derive you for your work. It's really an amazing exercise. And I would also say another, CIS has built up amazing resources. So CIS has come up with the resources of question bank, which if you send me the email, I can share that. So question bank, I had actually a session with CIS representative in the ICAC conference, International ACAC conference in this July. And those are amazing resources. You know, that how you can plan, how even your students, you can provide them those question bank, so that it is not, we cannot put all the pressure on university only. We just have to empower our students, you know, so that they can also ask those questions and they can think on those lines, because they will become independent. But independent, when we say that freedom doesn't come without responsibility, it comes with responsibility. They are Gen Z. Lot of challenges are there. We are paving our pace with them, but somewhere they also need to bring some stability. They also need to bring something.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I have taken a lot of time. Please.
Thank you. So we'll quickly go over some of the challenges that us on the university admission side face when we talk to students who, you know, they're younger and younger every year, in my eyes. So these slides were put together a couple of weeks ago, but the story is fresh from yesterday, as I was at one of the IC3 fairs at a local school, and a student in 9th grade, so yes, probably Gen Alpha, said, I was going over what our admission requirements are, and I said, you know, we need an essay or writing sample. And he asked, can I just use ChatGPT to write my essay? And I tried to keep a straight face, and I said, you can, but then I will use ChatGPT to screen your essay, and when I find out you plagiarize it, I will probably won't admit you. He was not prepared for this answer. But things like that, when I'm, you know, at my university, we don't really use a lot of AI technology to screen applications. We still read all the essays, we do all the GPA conversions. So how do I assure that any materials submitted to me to consider for admission are true, and the student really wrote the wonderful essays that we read? Social media, there are new things coming up. Can we even keep up with that? I remember a few years ago, I finally learned what a Snapchat is, and it turns out it was no longer relevant. Don't even bother mentioning that you have a Facebook. A lot of the young kids nowadays, they don't even know what that is, so I try not to mention that. But how do we make sure that we meet the students where they are? You know, they'll tell us, I want all of the information. I want you to tell me everything. but not in an email, because I don't want to read long emails. I want it in bits and pieces. But don't send me too many emails, because then I can't keep up with all the emails and I don't have time to read all of the emails. Does anybody know how to challenge that? I keep saying that soon I'm going to have to really become really good at recording TikTok videos so I could explain the application process, the admission process, the visa application process to these young people who want to learn but not the way you want to teach them. Parents, I think parents are always a challenge. If you have a secret to success, please share it with us. Every time I feel like I'm making good progress talking to parents, they throw me a curveball. As I mentioned earlier, I was an international student myself, so I try to use that my advantage when I talking to prospective students and parents. I now say, well, as a mom, I completely understand how important it is to know that your child is safe and taken care of. And then, they ask, oh, how old is your kid? And I said, well, 7. So clearly I'm not sending her away anytime soon. But I do understand what they care and what's important for them, right? Some other challenges coming our way is how do we build trust with students who, in 30 seconds, I only have their attention for 30 seconds or less. So how many times do I have to meet that student before they start trusting me that when I talk to them about my school or studying in this country, I really have their best interest in mind? And then just the idea of having on our end to do continuous learning, market analysis to find out what is it the current trend, what is it the thing that's important to students today, to students that I will be welcoming to my university 4 years from now. What is it important to them today? What is it going to be important to them tomorrow? And how do I deliver that message? And then I think the expectations to be available 24/7. I have literally exchanged emails with students in a text message style. So I made the mistake of responding right away, and then they responded right away, and then I had to respond. And then I had to go to a meeting, but we kept emailing back and forth. And while I had the availability at the time, at that specific moment, that's not something I can do, but they really expect that you're going to respond right away, because they want that information now. But it's not all doom and gloom, right? So what are some opportunities? Well, ChatGPT, we just need to learn how to take advantage of it. There's so many new tools coming up every day. So what is it that I could use today that would help me communicate better, market my university better, schedule my time better, being more productive? So my office is actually located in our Center for International Education, so I have the luxury of spending time with current students on campus, our international students and domestic students. So even though maybe I don't speak the Gen Alpha language, my students do. So instead of me trying to figure out, what kind of social media post I can make, what kind of video I can make, what kind of flyer I can create, I go to my students, especially students from the country I'm going to, I'm trying to recruit, say, hey, can you help me with this? Would you share a quote? What do you think is the best way to connect with students from your country? So we need to take advantage of our current students on campus. They're our best ambassadors. And then, it's an opportunity for professional development. I keep saying, and I know a lot of people say, we're lifelong learners. Honestly, lately, I don't think I want to be a lifelong learner anymore. But, try to think about this, keeping me fresh, keeping me on my toes. I just need to keep learning, keeping up with the fresh trends so I stay relevant. So when I approach students, they think I'm cool. Probably not, but it's okay. And then how do we adjust our methods of communication? Is sending emails still the way to go? Is TikTok videos the future? Is tweeting? I don't know, do I just tweet, here's how you prepare for a visa interview, and then send 20 different tweets. Maybe that's the secret to success. So whatever it might be, I think we definitely have the opportunity, we have the technology, we just need to find the desire and the time to learn. And I think this is our last slide, so now we'll open it to some questions. Not all at once now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all those informations. I was just wondering, both by being a representative of a school and a mom of a Gen Alpha, how much do you think Roblox is having an impact on their behavior or things? Because it seems to be something that is crossing the oceans, and I just don't understand anything about it. And I'm pretty sure it has an impact on the way they behave and they like to communicate, but I don't know how. Maybe you have some idea? Yes. It's a game and a social media in a way. Yeah.
So my son is 13, bless his dear heart. Video games are his deepest love. And I think about that all the time, like his generation, his friends, that's the way to communicate. Oh, is that one live? Maybe I'll use that one. I could use either. Yeah. Okay, there we go. That's better. I do think about that a lot, where if where they find value in their day is playing a video game and often streaming with their friends, is that an opportunity to do marketing there? Right? How do you get messaging into that? I mean, I'm also super scared as a mom. I'm like, what are you watching? What's happening? What do you have access to? And as they get older, you're supposed to let go and just trust more, which is a weird thing. But I do think that's a challenge and an opportunity to think about, where are they spending their time? Where are they finding that value? How do we incorporate some maybe life lessons into that as well? But I don't think my institution is ready to do any marketing in video games. I wish they would. I think we'd get a different audience. That didn't answer your question.
Well, I think even my daughter, as young as she is, the only reason I know what you're talking about is because I guess at school they have some educational games as well. Mm-hmm. So she keeps asking me to download Saint games on my phone so she could play. I said no. So I'm not as well aware of what's on Roblox, but it's something that kids get introduced to at school.
Yeah, a lot of their education happens through different mediums now. Like even my son's math homework, he'll come home and open up his math app. And there's fun ways to do it that I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of engaging. You don't just want to sit with a piece of paper and some equations and do that?
Hi, I'm a student volunteer. I just wanted to answer the question. Basically, to incorporate knowledge into this would be introducing scholarship based on this. Like Minecraft did it, like they based a scholarship on it. It intrigued students, designing, software development. It's a whole new genre of it. They can develop things on the game itself. So there's two things. You just don't want them to be involved in rage things. You want them to be on the educational side of it. So if you supervise it a bit, and also if the games take initiatives and your universities take initiatives to collaborate with the games, then you can introduce scholarships and you can expand your genres. Because the games are played by children all over the world. Thank you.
I really appreciate you to barge in and speak up. So what I was saying, to go for listening mode. Here, see, we got the good advice, from the student, because they are the best ambassador of their own self. They are the ones who are giving us that what we should actually do, because we are doing all for them, but it should not happen that we are doing a lot of efforts but all our efforts are going to this direction, whereas they are looking at this direction. So it's always good to ask them, because questioning and asking is also a skill, isn't it? As much as we say listening is a skill. And that opens a lot of door for us to learn. So are you all ready and set to learn and grow together?
Another question.
Oh, please. Sure. Sorry.
So this is maybe for more the high school side, but so when we talk about building trust when we recruit students to come to the U.S., the expectation on U.S. campuses are very traditional. I mean, our faculty, they're teaching the same way. They're sure adjusting a little bit more, but when we try to be fun, engaging, are we not like lying to the students? Because now we expect them to comply to a system that's like hundreds of years old. So, what is your approach? Like when students react to like our market, like when we come to your high school, when they come to our education fair, and we give them material, they follow us on Instagram, they like the brand. But do you have some of the feedback maybe from your alumni after they went for the first year and they say, well, this is nothing like what they presented me, because now it's very traditional, very, I'm not sure what the conservative in a sense, because that's what university is like in the US. It's always been the same.
I would say really great question. Thank you for asking that. And that's what I would say, like I always do alumni session, though it will be a little challenging for me for my new school which I joined just this month, because it's a very new school, so I do not have any alumni. But I used to do a lot of alumni session. Maybe from here or UK I can invite people, online for sessions. Anyway. So when you do sessions with alumni, they actually give real checks. And they share what they are actually were thinking and what the exact scenario is. I would say that they have given some negative information like that they are disappointed or something. But they always share that, it is a lot. Because I work more with IB schools, so IB is always like, chasing the deadlines. And that's what the universities are also. You have to complete your assignment within that time limit. If you have not submitted, no professor can help you. Or even some universities have like, if after that you have submitted, you cannot score more than 50%. Right. And the other thing, one of my students, I can actually name the unis also, not an issue, had applied to Duke University for his ED and he didn't get through. And in the regular season he got to USC and he is so very happy. And he said, from our all the profile, the universities also know the right fit. And now I'm happy because Duke must have realized that I'm not the right fit for them. So they knew who the student who could be right fit for them. And now I'm at USC and I'm really right fit for that. I'm so very happy, and he is the one who is always wearing the pendant also of USC.
Yeah, so I have the case here that where we have a very old alumni, because I come from a school which is about 67 years old. So of course, there are students who are professors at the universities also. So yes, that I think they do discuss with you guys, they follow the universities on Instagram and all. But I think students these days are quite adaptable. So they, of course, we also give them this orientation before they leave for their college, because I particularly do a session from school to college transition, where because we need to tell them that you are now not going to be a batch of 25 sitting in one class. It's going to be many more. You're going to be in a bigger place. So they need to understand that this is a transition. And of course, when she's saying that they give negative feedback, the alumni may give it. But I usually tell them that it's everyone's personal experience. For some, like the alumni who's giving a negative feedback, for her it could be a bad experience, but for you it can be a good experience. Because it's from person to person, the experience changes. But yes, I do ask them to connect to the alumni because of a simple reason that it's in a boarding school, there's a community, we are a very close community. So it's just that you have somebody above you in that particular country or city. But yes, there are sometimes that the students come back to us and say that, what I saw was not there. But then that's okay. If you are enjoying, you are transitioning into a better human being, why not? Until unless it's not a big problem, we try, and the students nowadays, of course, because they have invested time and money into it, so they try to adapt as much as they can. But yes, alumni interactions sometimes do make a difference.
It makes a big difference, and I think I didn't say negative, they give information. They give whatever their perspective is, and everyone's perspective is respected. Everyone is regarded. And it is a lot that how much actually the universities are conveying, how much the counselor is conveying, how much the students has taken the effort to understand the final university where they are actually committing. So it's a lot, and of course transition sessions are very, very important. I do transition sessions. I have taken workshop on transition session in the international ACAC also, and I do suggest, like, if any counselor who feel that they cannot do the session on transition, Education USA does fantastic job, British Council does fantastic job. So I always say, like, we can't do everything, and especially it depends, which level of the career we are in, right? We grow, but it takes time. So, but we have a lot of hands to support. We have a lot of resources. So it is important that we know those resources and we utilize those resources. Yeah, please.
Just curious, because we talked about Ed Bustos from Rollins College about social media, and I think it's getting in, and the student mentioned Minecraft and things like that, but I think when we're trying to advertise as a university to that group, they're very protected. We can't advertise to that group, especially like on Instagram and things like that. Should we be targeting the parents to, and I feel like parents have been getting more and more involved through the I've been doing this for like 20 years. Before I would nope, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the child. But now I have to talk to the parent. So should we be doing advertising on Instagram, promoting Rollins College, Vanderbilt, University of Vermont to the parents?
Bringing you into this. I will say a multifaceted approach is not a bad option, right? Thinking about if trust needs to be built with this generation, and their parents are the thing they trust most, you might need to be in the ears and eyes of both of them, right? Maybe we should be.
And it could be like parents workshop, and parenting orienting sessions. So those actually helps, that at least once the child got the offer, then, because if a child has received offer from 5 universities, then again it comes a struggle, now cards are on table, which to be finalized, which to be committed to. So that is the time you can pitch in, the parents a lot, that what are the benefits they can get. You can assure them, you can build that bridge of trust, so that helps a lot. So counting them as an important stakeholder in this journey is very important.
So I want to thank all of the panelists that have joined me in this journey. You've been such an amazing wealth of knowledge. Thank you for sharing your time and wisdom with all of us, and thank you all for joining us on this session. We know there will be lots more about Gen Alpha coming up in the following years.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you everyone. Thank you.